Hey there boys and girls, Lucky here and welcome back to another CSGO video. Today with another episode of Noob to Pro Tips, the series that should help you get better at Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Today we'll talk about how actually you can consistently get better, or better said, the way improving works. And there will basically 3 steps that you can follow or have to understand in order to get better. And just by having that understanding, I think you actually should be able to more efficiently train what you're actually doing. So I'd say, let's get right into it. Alrighty, so the first step is essentially trial and error. Everyone knows what trial and error is. It's essentially just trying something, for example peeking right here, and then seeing if it works or it doesn't. If you peek right here and you get killed because you obviously close peeked right here at the guy who was most likely holding an angle right there, you do, well, make an error, get out, die. So trial and error, you tried it, it didn't work, you will remember next time, okay, I should not repeat this. And this is essentially the easiest way on how to learn things. It's also the most consistent way because you're actually trying out everything. So you can try to peek from this right here at this time, try to peek a little later with a close peek at that time. So it really covers essentially everything that you do in-game. However, there's a huge and major downside to that, and that is it's taking a long-ass time. Meaning that whenever you're trying something, just by trial and error, so you're pushing up mid and you're trying to kill someone right here, and then you run and shoot. You died. Okay. So essentially right here you did 2 mistakes at the same time, which is kind of holding you back. You might think that, okay, I should not have pushed right here, so I should next time just stay behind this place, but then again, then the enemy will come around and you start firing again, and you're moving again, so you're not hitting your shots, and you're like, god damn it, okay, maybe this is not working right here, so I should fall back even further, and then again, see him right here, and then start firing. But again, as long as you're moving and you're not realizing that that is your problem, you're not going to properly improve, and this is like something that many people most likely are having issues with, and that's really pinpointing their problems. And usually trial and error will get rid of that eventually, just like people found out how to stutter step, instead of just doing that, so you can just fire actually all the time while you're moving, like an AD spam. People figure it out, like by chance, after a while, just investing time into the game, and that's how trial and error works. Very slow, takes a very long amount of time, but it will be very consistent. So now let's talk about the second point. So in case you haven't noticed by now, this is also a new AK skin. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about it. That's the AK-47 Bloodsport. It's still missing a name and a couple of Penta stickers, of course. Now, the second point is essentially guide videos. So I'm essentially making a guide video for a guide video, if you would like to call it like that. So usually a guide is telling you what to do. So that again is very simple and self-explanatory, while trial and error is letting you figure it out all by yourself, just peeking and getting killed, and then you remember, okay, I shouldn't do that. Guides essentially tell you what you should do, and sometimes they also tell you how you should do it. So instead of just doing that, the next time a guide or a good friend who's maybe your mentor or something like that, or your trainer, will tell you, do not peek that, just hold the angle, and when you're shooting, do not move at all. Then you'll be accurate. And this is already a lot more information. You'll get the information a lot faster than you usually would by just doing the trial and error thing. So this has a couple of pros and cons once again. Pros, obviously, you will not have to die over and over again just to figure out, okay, I actually have to stand still in order to shoot, so to be accurate. Instead, the guide can just tell you, well, just stand still and shoot, and you're good to go. So that's a lot better already, and of course there are other benefits, just like being taught different sorts of strats and executes that you can do, different smokes, instead of just say you gotta try out your own, you just tell you, well, just smoke against the wall, and you can smoke it off right there perfectly. Stuff like that will help you to elevate and kind of leapfrog or just jump ahead with your own skills just in terms of knowledge. So this is an important part. While trial and error is always combining knowledge with your actual skill, the things that you're doing in game, now you're actually gaining a step forward, like you're being one step ahead of yourself by having more knowledge of what you actually are capable of. And that's the big downside of the guide. It is only as good as the time you invest into it, because after all, it just essentially is showing you the way or the door, but you have to go through it by yourself. So that's where the next thing comes into place. Alrighty, so now let's talk about the third point, and that would be mastery. Mastery of your certain skills. So by now, you did trial and error, you saw what kind of did work and what did not. Then again, you watched some guide videos and you're like, oh, okay, now I know what I should do and how to do it. But then comes the next point. You know you should strafe around, stutter step, be accurate while shooting. You should know you should control your spray just by doing the reverse pattern. But just having the knowledge does not make you a master of it, or doesn't teach you to do it, because you're the one, after all, who has to implement the time into it. So essentially, combining a guide with training is the elevated version of trial and error, because you now have the knowledge of what you should do, and if you master it, you will also have the skill on how to do it. And just by having those two, you're essentially being the master of trial and error, because you don't have to rely on that. But again, trial and error is kind of teaching you in the same way. There's something, you're lacking knowledge and skill. And then you can gain knowledge by watching a guide or being taught something by a better player or a friend who is already more experienced with the game. But then the last point comes into place, and that's mastery. So you really have to practice whenever you're being told to do something, to fire away like for example, the spray pattern like there, or how to essentially throw a smoke grenade. So you know I should throw it like this, but just practice it every now and then, and this will already help you to get better. You can see it's landing in there, so you now smoked off window. Perfect. So it's really not just about, like, it's essentially being able to walk the talk that you have been given. So again, that's like the last step, mastery. It's your own practice, and I partly already covered that in another episode, but many people were asking about trial and error, and I thought that it's like trial and error is only one side to it. Like, that's the dumb side. Of course, it will give you consistent results, but it will take you a very, very long time. You can get just as consistent results with guides as long as you're also focusing just as much on mastery. So for every time you're watching a guide, you need to put in the proper amount of time. That's why Noob to Pro essentially, or initially, started out with having a guide at the beginning of the week, and then you got the whole week just training, a training routine to do that. And that's essentially what it really comes down to, because once again, CSGO is a game that will take lots of time in order to be good at. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little video. Also, let me know once again what you like about the new AK skin. Of course, I still have my old one, so don't worry, the Flying Raging is still there. But if you have a name suggestion or like a sticker suggestion, let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, I think it's pretty much all for now, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and luckySkillFaker out.